Namaskar, I'm Ashok Vyas, and today we are going to be talking about cultural capital and how that has helped or is helping in transformation of India. And before I bring in my panelists, I would recollect vaguely the outline of definition given by Lala Lajpat Rai ji about culture that is a collective memory of the collective victories, something to that effect, where you are recollecting the collective victories. So there is an inherent idea that it is a series of victories which have formed the nation. And when we talk about Bharat, which we very briefly, because before bringing my panelists, I would say that Bharat word itself means that which is immersed in knowledge. Bha means knowledge and Rat means immerse. So if we deprive ourselves from that knowledge in the name of secularism, how that works for nourishing the spirit of India that we have seen and now we are seeing. So let me have the pleasure of welcoming Yogesh Birla ji and Harish ji both. And Yogesh ji will put himself in the center of his frame, which he did. So now what we have in the center, Harish ji, as far as Indian cultural or self-esteem of a common Indian is concerned, under Prime Minister Narendra Modi, has India transformed as far as its cultural appreciation is concerned? Hariji, how do you see it?
Yes, Modi ji has been successful in transforming the country, the people, and their thinking also. Today, I see that many of us, we don't call our country as India. Of course, it's our name. India is also a name, but we are proud to call ourselves as a Bharatiya, Bharat. So that itself is a big cultural difference which Modi government has made. The confidence which has come in among the people, and even on the cultural, religious cultural side also, like I would be proud to say that I am a Hindu today, which was not there earlier. So there have been a lot of changes in the thinking of the country, the policy making of the country, which is on a positive way. And there's no religious or communal things happening because Modi ji says all religions are same, and he doesn't talk about religion, any religion as such. Not been partial to any religion, whether it is majority or minority. That way, I would say there's a very positive move by this government, which has percolated down to the public also.
Yeah. So
So some
Yogesh, yes, I always end up interrupting you, but so Yogesh
no, no,
ji,
no problem.
yeah, Yogesh ji, when we say Indian culture, and you remember you having seen Indian classical dances or having been to the concerts by uh, classical singers, you always hear the glory of Lord Krishna or some references from Puranic tales or katha. What, in essence, is Indian culture is adoration of the infinite in creative ways. So whether it is dance or whether we talk about paintings, classics, where Bani Thani Radha, Kishangarh Shailee or whatever. So to to have a very sort of a strict dividing line between Indian culture and Sanatan Dharma, it probably it's not a very correct way to appreciate Bharat in its totality. Do you agree, Yogesh?
See, Bharat in its totality is a very wide term. We have to understand it very deeply what Bharat is, what Bharat has given to the world, whether it invention of first zero or whether it is, and number of things my Bharat has given to the world, but not properly recognized across the world. That was a missing factor, which we are gaining as a hidden treasure which was there somewhere in the air of the world, that okay, this was developed by Bharat, this was developed by Bharat, this was invented by Bharat. So now at least the things were in air, those are coming to the grounds, whether you can say culturally, whether you can say religiously, or whether you can say fair politically. All the aspects are giving a best blending of an emerging India.
Mm. So, Hariji, I just think of an image where if you are hurt somewhere, then you, or let's say one person is hurt somewhere, or he has bruised somewhere, and you don't want that to be visible to the world, then you don't let the whole person come out and meet guests or anybody. So that was the kind of approach which probably we adopted as a nation in India, while we were trying to avoid the references where Hindus got killed or they were massacred, etc., in order to maintain a sense of harmony so that you don't show your wounds. But in that process, we ended up hiding the wealth of knowledge which is relevant for the whole world. And I think that approach under Prime Minister Modi, Narendra Modi, has changed. So there are many issues which were sort of a taboo. Now people are talking about them, and we will take two major developments that has happened under Prime Minister Modi. Which one, I'll go to the top of India and talk about Valley, that is Jammu and Kashmir, and abrogation of Article 370, and look at it in the context of the cultural growth or reclaiming of the wealth that is offered by Indian cultural philosophy or knowledge. Yeah, Hariji.
Yes, actually, like Modi ji has been talking about the fate of Kashmiri Pandits. There is some work going on so that they should be rehabilitated in Kashmir. And the abrogation of Article 370 has given them some confidence to do this. And if you remember, there's Sharda temple built in near Jammu. So those things are happening. It can't change overnight, though there are people they say Modi ji ne kuch nahi kiya, but things are happening and it cannot change overnight the perception. So, and apart from that, Modi ji is trying to promote the Indian culture everywhere. If you see
Yeah.
G20
So,
meetings,
sorry,
G20 meeting.
yeah, sorry, stay with Article 370 abrogation. How
Okay.
far-reaching impacts do you see coming from that?
Impact, like now investments are started coming. Some investors have agreed to invest in Kashmir, which would help in job creation, help the economy of Kashmir. Tourism has been improving in Kashmir. So those things are happening, and Indians are ready to buy land in Kashmir, which they were not allowed to buy earlier. So those things are happening, and the biggest thing is for the last 3, 4, 5 years, there are no stone throwing incidents, stray incidents of terrorist activities are happening, but the numbers have come down drastically. So a sense of security is come in, which is a good thing to happen. And the biggest move was G20. Again, I come back to G20. Like there was an event in Srinagar also about G20, which
Mhm.
went off very successfully. So
Very
those
good.
things are happening,
Yeah.
and the peace has come into the valley. People are confident about it, and the best part is Tiranga fehla rahe, the Indian flag is being hoisted in Kashmir, Srinagar, which is
Right.
a positive thing. People are
Absolutely.
confident about that.
Yeah.
So,
Yogesh, when you have confidence and you are happy, then it reflects in your performance also. When we look at India as a nation and the abrogation of Article 370, which generations after generation, many people felt that there is something missing because of not a proper integration of Jammu and Kashmir. कश्मीर से कन्याकुमारी तक भारत एक है. We always said it, but somewhere we used to feel that Kashmir ek kahan hai, we cannot go there freely, etc. So when Article 370 was abrogated and what Hariji said has started happening, on the other hand, how it works on the psyche of a common Bharatiya to see this process uh, happening.
Ashokji, you very rightly touched a very sentimental but a creative point for my Bharat. That sitting maybe in India or sitting maybe in USA, whether you or me both, we are thinking what will happen to Ukraine or Russia, what will happen to Hamas and Israel, what will happen. At the same time, so many decades, people were thinking, what is going to be the fate of Kashmir and India? What is going to be the fate of 370 in India? Okay, so all the time people were thinking, but this issue was made such a big issue across the world I would not name the people who made it up, but when Modi ji did it, it was just like, landing on the moon. Sitting in
Yes.
a normal chopper, you are landing on the moon. So this boost up the confidence in all the aspects, whether someone looking to India politically, someone looking to India economically, or some investor. I'll tell you a very simple example. One of my big investor in the green energy, like solar project investor from Texas, he one day called me up, maybe 2 months back, and he said, "Oh, I want to buy some land in Varanasi. I want to buy some land in Ayodhya. I want to buy some land in Rishikesh, all the religious places." I asked why. Why you want to buy in Kashmir, really, Varanasi, all the places? Why? No, no, you know that India is you getting culturally a bigger business opportunistic place. So see, sitting in Texas, they are identifying that which is the next big business going to happen in India that is connected to the religious cities of India, whether to install a five-star hotel, whether to install a religious travel company, whether to install a religious recreational parks. So this kind of calls we are continuously getting from the investor across the world. This is all again reconnecting the dots from 370 to Ram Mandir Nirman to Varanasi Kashi Vishwanath corridor, everything. It has been, those things have been done religiously, but affecting the real economic upscaling of India across the world.
Absolutely, very well said. And let's go to Ram Mandir because you brought it. So here we have the wonderful image of this majestic divine abode of Lord Rama at his birthplace. This was also something which many of us felt that would never happen in our lifetime, etc. So when that happens, let me quickly bring the reference of the development which has already taken place in Ayodhya, whether it is railway station or airport or
Airport.
having that Lata Chowk, and the whole Ayodhya is transformed, so that is also boost for the economy. We are talking about cultural capital, and this is also one way of taking advantage of the glorious cultural tradition that we have. uh, your take on the Prana Pratishtha Samaro, and Prime Minister Narendra Modi said this is transformational for India for coming 1,000 years. How do you see where he is coming from, Harish?
This is like this is every Indian was looking forward for this Ram, and though opposition was teasing the BJP government that मंदिर बनाएंगे पर तारीख नहीं बताएंगे, so तारीख भी बता दी, बन भी गया मंदिर. And now if you see post pran pratishtha, lakhs of devotees have been going daily to the temple. This definitely will help the tourism and the economy of Ayodhya. As you said, uh, a new railway station has come up, new airport has come up, roads and all expressways are coming connecting Ayodhya. So going forward culturally, I think Ayodhya, Varanasi and all Gaya, that will become a cultural tourism center of India. So it is going to help, and people are confident that this government means business and they have done it.
So
And I would also go like Modi ji has just not gone and inaugurated this Pran Pratishtha. He that 11 days of what we call as Anushthan, he has performed that religiously and then gone and performed the Pran Pratishtha, which is creditable.
Absolutely. So when Hariji brings in the reference of Prime Minister Narendra Modi sincerely observing the practices that would be befitting for this pious Pran Pratishtha Samaro, and that was also commented by Acharya Govindev Tirth ji at that Sabha, his Nishtha. And now,
Nishta.
you look at it, Yogesh ji, from the point of view how it connects with common youths or the heart of Indians in terms of when they see the leader of the nation owns or is not disowning their cultural ethos or the cultural flow. So when that respect is accorded to the cultural nuances of the nation with appreciation for the spirit of Ram, without any apologetic kind of demeanor which we have got used to, do you see down the line in addition to the tangible economic benefits that you can see coming from India or tourism, etc. But I would say the human capital, how that gets transformed when you take pride in who you really are, what you belong to. How do you see that cultural capital coming for transforming India at the moment, Yogesh?
Ashokji, I'll tell a very practical example which happened with me even. That very correctly we are saying how youth is getting energized or charged. That on 22nd of January, when this inauguration was program was going on, Swami Govindev Giriji Maharaj, he very well enlightened the Nishtha. Okay, my son, he was sitting over maybe a month back. We were sitting on the Sunday lunch table. He was saying, "Oh, making a temple is very easy. You order some big infrastructure company about this thing. You order a good architect. You order some good interior and all these things." But on 22nd of January, when he saw that Mr. Modi is traveling across India, across South India, all the tirth, and he is doing 11 days of fasting. And then Swami Govindev Giriji Maharaj reiterated this thing in the main function that I asked him to fast for 3 days, and then I verified from Mr. Modi's mother. She told that he
Mother, no,
did.
no, not Modi's mother. No, no. He She lost her. He verified from someone, but not from his mother.
Okay, so that he performed this for 11 days. That Nishtha, it has impressed the youth of India that yes, if country has to grow, it has to be thought by heart, not always by the mind. So by mind, if you think, you can construct a mandir, but by heart, if you think, you can, do the pran pratishtha just by you can take a direct flight from Delhi, you can jump into Ram Mandir, you can cut the red ribbon, and you can come back to Delhi if you are working by mind. But no, Mr. Modi and this government and this team, they are by heart attached to India, and that is what is impressing youth, that they have to bring them back at any cost. As I told you earlier, that this time they are not going to demand vote, they are going to demand Bharatvarsh. That Bharatvarsh has to, stand. Means Modi has to stand back.
So now there are many examples, as Yogi ji said earlier. When you start talking about the new India, there are many exciting references which comes to your attention. And in the context of cultural capital, I would also mention the International Day of Yoga, which was the initiative or
Yes.
brainchild of Prime Minister Narendra
Yes.
Modi, and that brought the wealth of India's wisdom available for the whole world. And the way India acted in the aftermath of the challenge posed by COVID-19, many examples come to mind. But let me come to you, Hariji, in terms of the way Prime Minister Narendra Modi took many world leaders for let's say Japan Prime Minister is doing Ganga Aarti. I mean, it was unthinkable earlier to. So it is very much in contrast with the way first Prime Minister of India acted to Prime Minister Narendra Modi. How do you see this playing out for India?
This actually, the first prime minister had a different thinking, and I think he was more inclined towards the Western lifestyle. But Modi ji wants to promote India, the Indian culture. And now, if you see any foreign dignitary, head of state coming to India, he would take. They don't do- not they not just come to Delhi. He takes them to different parts of this country, show them the culture. There are some cultural events also which happen, and that is how the Indian culture is being exposed to the world. When Xi Jinping came once, he was taken to Ahmedabad. Second time when he came, he was taken to a place near Chennai, a historical place. So he has been taking all the heads of states to different places and exposing them, and that is exactly what he did during the G20 also. The G20 delegates, the meetings were not happening in Delhi; it was happening in different places. About, I don't remember the exact number, around 60 cities in India. G20 events were happening, and that is how they got international exposure. And people, foreign delegates who came, they got exposed to the India, the real India, the culture. India, not India is not just Delhi. That was his message, and which has gone through well with the many countries. So that way, I would appreciate Modi for his efforts, and he when he goes there, he exposes them to the real Indian culture, not the Western lifestyle which is copied. So that way, it has gone a long way to promote Indian culture.
Yeah. So I'll also add, Yogesh ji, before I request you to add from your side, the recent visit we mentioned our French Prime Minister to Jaipur, and there on the pavement they found the replica of Ram Mandir, Ayodhya, which he gifted to him. So that earlier we have not seen, or maybe I'm not aware that most of the time he has gifted the copy of Bhagavad Gita to during his visits to, I think,
Yes.
to
Yes.
President
Yes.
Obama also when he came here he gave that, and to several other head of the state. So that kind of is a positioning on the global scale of the real Bharat, so to say. Yogi, how that makes you feel?
See, it feels really that when Mr. Modi present Bhagavad Gita or when Mr. Modi present a replica of Ram Mandir, so the person who is accepting this gift, he thinks that really someone is gifting by heart without any commercial intention by mind. They are giving it by heart, and like even in deals or even in business, we think that first make relations, then talk about money. Okay, so I put it that way very simply that you are a shopkeeper. First, you try to get gelled with the customer, and customer try to get gel with the shopkeeper. Then they start thinking about buying and selling, and then bargaining is easy, or doing business is easy. So commercially, if we say that ease of business practice is only when you are easy discussing business terms with each other, and that comes only by the interpersonal relationship development.
So now talking about interpersonal relationship development and awareness of social media and the millions of followers that Prime Minister have on different platforms, we will probably have few minutes to get into the impact of his visit to Lakshadweep. And I see that also he makes it a point to brush or to sit and mingle with artisans, handicraft makers, and that he has been doing even before he became prime minister is what I heard from some people close to him. So let's get to this interesting episode of his picture of relaxing at the beach on Lakshadweep and the storm that that came just 2 days after, which took all celebrities of India in its flow, and then of course Maldives and Indian relationship also were seen with a different prism. Harish.
Yeah, that was a turning point, Modi ji's visit to Lakshadweep, and it's brought Lakshadweep to the limelight. Otherwise, many Indians would prefer to travel to Maldives and not to Lakshadweep because of the infrastructure. In fact, I'm happy to say that last February I had visited Lakshadweep and really enjoyed the 4 days stay in Lakshadweep. So it's really beautiful, unexplored. And even if the development happens there, the beauty, nature should be preserved. And immediate knee-jerk reaction from the Maldivian government ministers, three ministers, created a big issue, and that was probably that he is trying to develop Lakshadweep as an alternative tourist destination there. That knee reaction came from them, and now everyone, whatever Modi does, everyone jumps at it on the social media, which was a good thing, and many but the plans of visiting to Maldives were cancelled by many of the tourist operators. So it became a big issue. So of course, I think now some people have already announced that they are going to construct a hotel in Lakshadweep and all. I only pray and wish that the nature is not spoiled there. It should not become a commercial thing. It's really beautiful place to visit, but it
So
has
who?
an impact. It
Yeah.
has an impact, and tourism, Modi ji is focusing on tourism also. That's the good part of it's not just economic development or only manufacturing or this thing. It's an overall development, like cultural development, the tourism development, the industries, manufacturing, and all that. It's happening So I would say it was a good move by Modi ji with so much
Yeah,
of
certainly,
publicity.
Yogi ji, we probably have few minutes to go, but one, I think whether it was his intention or not, but the way the story evolved, it was to counter some way to the tourist flow towards Maldives from Indians. And he has actually somewhere explicitly mentioned that you should explore Indian beauty first before going out to other venues of this kind. And another point which you made, if it becomes commercialized, that natural beauty would probably not be preserved. So maybe we probably need to have that balanced, planned approach that both balancing acts take place. Because it is bound to be commercial. Otherwise, what is the how the tourism? They would need the kind of facilities which they are accustomed to, etc. But Yogesh ji, how it? So there's another side to it. Of course, we have mentioned Prime and so many times. But when you resonate with same spirit, that is also a cultural renaissance of some kind, because you have not seen people rallying wholeheartedly behind Prime Minister Modi for something like this. So it shows an emotional connect also. But at this juncture also, the opposition and especially Congress party's tweets were kind of coming from a different approach. But you want to comment on either of the two sides, Yogesh?
Ashokji, see, the things are very simple from the customer point of view. That when government saw that people are going abroad, what they are going for? They are going for some clean beaches. They are going for some good hotels. They are going for the things which are not in India. Then they came and they thought, no, things are available in India, but not properly marketed, not properly branded, not properly, the proper infrastructure is there. In last 2 years, one of the biggest tourism, domestic tourism expenditure was on the religious travel. Like after inauguration of Varanasi corridor, and after this Ramlala, that Lakshadweep. Okay, so it is not curtailing the travel expenditure, but it is just shifting the base from spending in other countries or other continents than to boost the domestic economy. And again, I'll add this thing that background team is working hard, that they were very well prepared with some good infrastructure options over in Lakshadweep, that Mr. Modi raised this brand, there's a brand of the place, and next to next day, Tata Group told that, okay, we'll build a hotel, other group told we'll build one more hotel. So how this is happening very
So,
suddenly?
yeah, I would say I have to request to be forgiven for concluding it abruptly, looking at the time. Uh, I will say Prime Minister Narendra Modi has become the kind of brand which
Yes.
is like Paras, wherever he touches, it turns into gold. He has sort of imbibed that sort of personality. We call it divine intervention or whatever, and he doesn't shy away from wearing the cultural richness in his day-to-day practice, which has also energized many people in positive way. And of course, there will be controversies that would always remain. But we have talked about transformed India with cultural capital, and we feel there is so much that can be said. And I think that is the space where we want to leave for each of our viewers to think about other areas where they feel happy about. So I'm happy, Yogeji, you are finishing your coffee, and I'm happy, Harishji, you have finished your coffee, and this is the final from today's show with lots and lots of good wishes for each and everyone.